Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. The day's just beginning. There's so much to do. Come on. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning to you. I heard you crow. You sound so good. You're becoming, hello. I said I heard you crow. You're being really good. Ready to eat? Look at here. Here's all the snacks. All the snacks.
Terrence will be first every time.
Well, he's the
Then
big boy.
Sam.
The first one to crow. He's our leader.
Isn't that funny?
Yep. Peepat. Here comes Peepat. She's running.
Come on, Peepat. Get you some breakfast, baby. Don't let those boys intimidate you.
Come on, Peepat. Oh, Peepat.
Yeah. Nope. She's like, nope, the boys are in the way. Look at this one sneaking up the back here.
So I am not stealing anyone's content. I'm only adding an additional source of information, something that everybody on Morrow Hill has talked about numerous times in every video. But for those who don't follow other channels, this might be the first time you're hearing about it. So this is my dad's barn that he built probably 30 years ago. This served my dad very well for a very long time. This is actually my dad's second barn. The first barn that he built when I was just a kid, and I'm in my mid-50s, is over here. But my dad upgraded, made that more of a stall type barn for his animals, and made this his actual working barn about 30 years ago. Well, at some point, Dad and my brother Dan began to half the barn. Dad kept one half. My brother, who we call Uncle Dan, had the other side, and that worked out great for them. Then, Uncle Dan, as you guys know, after Hurricane Harvey, their home was destroyed. They got them a new home. They got themselves a double-wide mobile home, and Uncle Dan built his big shop over on the far side of his double-wide. Once Dan moved all of his stuff out of his barn, Uncle Dan let nephew Jake take over and begin to use this side of the barn. My dad still kept a lot of his stuff over here. However, now that Jake is moving to Honey Hill, and now that my dad, who has a third barn over there that is in the process of being torn down to make room for my dad's and my mom's new home. You heard me right. Mom and Dad are going to, at their age, get themselves a smaller home. They're going to downsize quite a bit. Trixie, it's not hot. Settle down. Guys, it's 66 degrees out here today. It's a beautiful day. Anyway, my dad right now is in the process of moving everything out of that building you see way over there. I'll walk over in a moment. And that's going to be torn down. And that's going to open up a place for Mom and Dad to have their new home, which we believe at this point is going to be a metal building. They're going to have Kim and Dan and anyone else who can help do all of the interior. But Dad's moving all of this stuff out of that barn back over to here, where my dad will have the entirety of the barn. Jake has had to take all of his stuff out. Brienne has taken all of her stuff out. And my dad's in the process of moving all of his stuff over. Okay? So this over here will once again become my dad's main barn. Now, you guys do know that I've talked about and kind of joked about and laughed about the number of buildings that my dad has. My dad does, in fact, have multiple buildings. He's always built something, filled it to capacity, and then instead of getting rid of the stuff that he doesn't use, he builds something else. So we have this building over here, which I'm sure that you've seen plenty of tours that my dad's giving you guys. This was at one point his man cave. It has served so many purposes, but as of right now, it's just full of stuff. And I'm not going to take you inside. It's not my place to do that. I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but this is one building that's full of stuff. My dad has a second building over here, which I know for a fact he doesn't mind me showing this place off. This is really neat. My dad likes having little structures here and there. This is his outdoor kitchen area that he's made into a place. He has his little wood heater over here. He does a lot of his hangouts at this area. This is a really neat room. Now, as I'm talking and showing off everything, I hear my dad has pulled up. He's probably going to get on to me for showing off his building. I don't know if he will or not, though. But this is a really neat building. He also has his pavilion area where he hangs out a lot during, different times of the day when the weather's nice outside, yet he still wants to have sort of a structure above his head. So we have the small building over here. There's also a small building over there. There's quite a few buildings here, guys. But this house, this is the home that we built. When I say we, it would be me, my dad, and Uncle Dan. We worked together and built this home. I'm going to say probably, let's see, I had just graduated high school, 90. So in the 90s, sometime in the 90s, our home burnt down. And so we built this home over here. We bought a log cabin kit. I think it cost $14,000. We bought it from Canada. They sent all of the logs here in a couple of dump bed trucks. And we had all those logs just spread all around this house, all around the yard here. And together, me, Dad, and Dan worked and put that kit together. It's been a wonderful home. However, as Mom and Dad get a little bit older and they're looking to downsize, they're going to go ahead and give this home to my nephew, Dusty, and his wife, Jill. As you know, Dusty and Jill have a large family, and you've also heard that Jill is battling with cancer, and so she's also pregnant, which makes all of that pretty difficult. So Mom and Dad think to themselves that with a family as large as theirs, and the fact that Mom and Dad, neither one can get up and down the stairs, they're going to go ahead and just hand this home here over to Dusty and Jill and their family. And so that's Mom and Dad's decision. I will say that decision has been a little bit controversial. A lot of people are kind of at odds with having my dad and mom take on such a huge undertaking at this point in their life. But you can't control that. That's Mom and Dad's decision ultimately. Look at the swing. Look. The Eugene exorcism has worked. The swing has not swung since Eugene came over and did his, well, we had our seance. And so this is the other house over here. Now, this here has quite the history behind it. Who's screaming? Are they about to say a grace? I think it might be time to say the prayer. I'll continue this video as soon as we're done with the family prayer and fish fry. All right, my brother, Rob, all the guys who cooked just really outdid themselves over here with a wonderful fish fry. And now I'm gonna walk over and finish up my video right quick. Today's our Mother's Day fish fry, and I appreciate Dan and Lou and Rob. I forgot everyone who participated in catching fish and cooking this stuff up. But I want to show you real fast this old building that's about to be torn down. And I want to give you a quick little history of it and let you know something about me that you probably never knew. Guess what? This here, at one point in my life, was my home. You heard me right. This was my home. What are you girls doing? So obviously when this was my home, it was in better condition back then. And I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about what changes my dad has made. But Sister Tina got pregnant when she was very young, and they built this small house for her. There was no porch on it then. All it was a 14-foot wide by about 30-foot long. It looked very similar to what maybe a single-wide mobile home would look. It was adorable. And Tina, living here next to Mom and Dad, raising Dusty as a single mom, she made it work. She made it work, absolutely. At some point, though, Tina got married, and she and Rob began to have a life together, wanting to have more kids, and this small house at that point was not big enough. So guess what we did? I took it over, and I moved in here. I was I was in college, about to finish up, and so I ended up moving here and making her little home into my home. What I did was added this front porch here, and as a matter of fact, now guys, don't judge. This has been 30 years ago. What I did was ran an entire porch down the entirety of the building. So I had a 30-foot outside porch, 10-foot out, 30-foot long. I also planted these 2 trees. Look at here. Lester did this. I planted these to be a part of my front yard. I put a concrete pad here for my barbecue pit and table. And this was an area where I spent a whole lot of my time. Now, at that point, there was no house here. There was obviously no sanctuary over there. It was just all open field. And so this is where I lived. I will walk you inside now and remind you guys that after I moved here, my dad took this over. No, I take it back. After I moved out of here and moved to my home over there, Buddy and Stephanie lived here. Buddy and Stephanie, yes, my nephew Buddy and Stephanie moved in over here. They're the ones who closed this off. They did not need to have the long porch, so they enclosed this area and made it into a livable space where I believe they made a washroom and additional bedrooms, whatever they did. All right, let's go ahead and take a walk inside. Now remember, I'm warning you all that this has become a barn. After Bud and Steph moved out, it has become a barn. And so now what you're seeing is nothing more than a barn. So you're not going to judge. It's also a barn that's in the process of being everything cleaned out and moved over to the larger barn. My dad has his power tools, and you guys know my dad. He doesn't throw anything away. So you're not going to find, my dad throws nothing away, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in here is just a treasure trove of things that my dad has accumulated. And the wonderful thing about it is, if you come to my dad and say, hey, Dad, I need a bolt, I need a screw, and you tell him whatever you need, he'll hobble over here, he'll hobble himself over, and he will find you whatever you're looking for. So he has a way. Look, these are wedges. No one around here cuts firewood and has to wedge it into pieces. We don't cut stumps up to wedge, but my dad has everything, and he throws nothing away. So as of right now, Daniel, more so than anybody else, is slowly helping my dad take things out of here and haul them over to my dad's big barn, his original big barn, and make himself a workable space over there. Just to let you know how things used to look back in the day. This over here was the kitchen. Very small, like I said, 14-foot wide. And I would say the kitchen counter came right to here. It actually went across. We had a kitchen counter, went across over to here. And then this over here was the living room. So very small, but quaint, a wonderful place to live. All of the windows have been boarded up, I guess, after Hurricane Harvey when my dad came in, because this place was flooded, y'all. This place was flooded during Hurricane Harvey. So once my dad came in and began to kind of wall things up, you can see over here where he walled up a window over there. No, I'm sorry. Here was the window. There was a big, long window here. That was a door. Now all that's been walled up. Another window right here where he has the meter or the power has all been walled up. So all the windows have been closed. There's a window over here, double windows over here on this side. He went ahead and boarded up everything. And then we'll go ahead and walk ourselves down through here. I'll tell you, though, that I'm terrified of snakes. I don't think there'd be a reason to have snakes over here. There's nothing for snakes to eat because there's no rats here. Why would rats live here? And if there's no mice and there's no rats, I don't think you'll have snakes. And then again, I remember that sometimes rats and mice will eat things like plastic. So you don't know if there's any rats or mice here. I don't know. But as I walk down, you can still see the old water line where the hurricane flood come across inside of here. You can see the mold that goes all the way down. So the place is no longer and can never, ever be livable. So they are going to, because I'm just looking for snakes, they are going to go ahead and tear this building down. And this is the old bathroom. I am looking left and looking right for snakes, friends. And then this over here was my old bedroom. Here was the old bedroom. Now, if you guys don't know about these are a gold mine. I'm going to actually ask my dad if I can have these. These were amazing. Back in the old days, we would use these when we had to load or unload hay. These here bracket, they mount together. My dad has several of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these things. And so you can see the little hooks on the end. So they actually hook together somehow, and you can actually make you a long conveyor belt. And these are rollers. You just spray some WD-40 on them, and you take a bale of hay and just slide it, and that roll of hay will slide from inside of a trailer all the way down to where you want to land it, which is really, really, really awesome. Now, this home here was a place where I lived for many years, and it has seen a whole lot, not action, I don't mean it that way, but it has seen a whole lot of families who've lived here, y'all. There's been a lot of families who've lived here and made great use of something that Tina had built at a time in her life when she needed something. So what's going to happen is, real simple, Mom and Dad will have this place demolished and hauled away. And then at some point, they will clean up all of the land around here, get this entire area cleaned up nice. And then what they're going to do is come by and have themselves a building, a metal building, the kind of building that you see all up and down the side of the road, one that's going to be big enough for them to live in, ground level, even though they may build the ground up a little bit to avoid potential flooding in the future. And then they will make it into a home. So we're excited about what's to become of this place. Don't know exactly what to expect. Are you kind of scared to swing on that swing because of the ghost girl, Charlotte, or not really?
I saw this swinging the other day. That one.
Yeah.
There's a girl named Charlotte on this swing right now. I just pushed the button.
You don't feel goosebumps when you sit on it?
No.
No, Elora.
Well, I'm cold.
So, there you go. Anyway, neat little story about this entire area. But no, I think to me, it's beautiful to know that these trees that I planted, like I said, 30, maybe 30 plus years ago, have gotten to this size over here now. They keep this entire area nice and shady. I think that my dad's going to end up leaving the carport over here where he parks his RV, and he'll probably make that become the actual carport. Not certain what he's going to do. I don't know for a fact. But anything else you want to know about this particular project, you go to my dad's channel and he'll talk about it. He and Mom are both talking a lot about it. And Sister Kim has a very large role she will play in everything. My brother, Uncle Dan, will also and has had a very large role that he's playing. Mom and Dad can't do a lot on their own, and they're going to absolutely be dependent on Kim and Daniel to help get some things done, stuff that they can't do. And then, like I said, guys, we don't all have to agree on if it's the best move. Personally, I don't mind if you guys know my opinion. I hate to see Mom and Dad leave their home. That really hurts me to know that Mom and Dad at their age, my dad and Mom are in their late 70s, and neither one are in wonderful health as far as physical health goes. But I hate to see them have to leave their home at this age, because this home is full of memories to us. This home is full of family gatherings for Christmas and all the different holidays. And I do believe, well, and of course now Mom and Dad's home is where my mom babysits a lot of kids. She's been babysitting kids for years. And I think that Mom wants to continue doing all of that stuff, but in a much smaller home. And I just don't see it happening very easily. But that's not my decision. It's not my say. It's the Mom and Dad's. And so we will support them on whatever they choose to do. But we're all entitled to an opinion. Anyway, I want to thank y'all for watching the video. I hope that it was educational and you learned some stuff about Morrow Hill, in particular, this part of Morrow Hill and all that we're looking at. And, well, you just don't know what to expect. And I just hope, you can only keep your fingers crossed and hope that it doesn't put too much of a strain on anybody. I know that my dad, I've said this so many times, that my dad aged 10 years after Hurricane Harvey. I watched him. I watched a very young, robust, 60-something-year-old man who absolutely aged 10 years overnight after the effects of a flood that come across and just ravaged all that you see here, just ravaged. And now my biggest fear is that in my dad leaving his home and having to find himself going through the process of rebuilding something else at his age, 79 years old, I just hope it doesn't take him, y'all. I hope it doesn't take him. And, but you know what? At the same time, you cannot argue with a 79-year-old. Guys, you cannot argue with my mom, who's 76. You cannot argue with Dad, who's 79. You're not ever, never will you ever win that argument. So it is what it is. Instead, you love and support and just do your best to help out however that you can. All right. Thank you all for watching. We're so blessed to have you. I hope that you all have a wonderful Mother's Day to all the moms. I know you guys won't see this video till tomorrow, Monday, but I'm hoping you're enjoying your Mother's Day for all the sacrifices that you've made for your children. We honor you, moms. We absolutely honor you. And then for you dads who have to play the role of mom and dad, we honor you as well. Thank you all for watching. Love you so much. Blessed to have you. And we'll catch you guys on the next video.
Don't let your troubles fester. Come watch Longhorn Lester.
Yeah, something like that.